If we took care of that financial piece, if we worked with you to take care of that financial piece, do you think you could be healthier? I think so. I think you can, make better choices. You can do better things, and you can look at it on both sides. They help each other out. If you've got your health in order, you're more likely going to be able to make more money, be able to make better choices, save more money, things like that. And if you have your finances in order, you're going to be able to, and so it's just a great synergy. And so, it's really this idea, biohacking before the basics, same thing with finances. Let's get the basics in order, and then let's start talking about advanced strategies.
This is BetterWealth with Caleb Guilliams. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the BetterWealth podcast. In today's BetterWealth breakdown with Right Hand Dan, we're going to be talking about your favorite biohack, and this is going to be very relevant because in the house we've been talking a lot about biohacking, making sure that we are doing the right things for our body so that we can perform better, so that we can think clearer. And I really like where this episode is going to go, because I think there's going to be a really clear call to action. So whether you're into biohacking or you're not, this will relate to your money, I promise. And I think it's going to be powerful.
Yeah, so this idea of biohacking is like trying to increase longevity, quality of life, things like that. We talk about it, BetterWealth. It really is a way of life: health, wealth, love, and happiness. And so we're all passionate about everything that we do, it seems like. And one of those things is health, where we talk about health all the time. And so we're like trying to do all these biohacks. You guys have heard of us about doing cold showers. Caleb just did a podcast having his blue light blockers on. We were talking about going out in the sun and, all this kind of stuff. And we're trying to do all these hacks. And something that I heard on a podcast recently was everybody wants to do all these biohacks, and they're not even taking care of the basics.
Exactly.
And so the same is true in finances. Everybody wants that magic bullet that's going to solve all their problems, and they're not even willing to go to the fundamentals. And from a health perspective, it's things like, is your diet in order? Are you exercising properly?
Are you sleeping?
Are you sleeping? Big one. I mean, you spend a third of your life sleeping, and Americans are like fixated on sleeping less and less and less.
Right.
And yet it's one of the most important things.
Right.
And so what I was thinking about is that really when we talk about the financial piece is same thing with health. It's diagnose and prescribe.
Yep.
And that's where we really came up with this financial x-ray of people don't even know where they're at, or they have a feeling that something's not right. And so they come to us and we're like, you know what, if you give us a little bit of information, we're going to be able to look at your situation. We're going to be able to diagnose where you're at, give you some quick wins, and prescribe something for you. And it's different for everybody, but a lot of times when we just talked about it in the last podcast of thinking about the basics, getting some of those foundational things that aren't fun, like tracking your money. For some people, it's a lot of fun to track your money, and just figure out where everything is going, and then start leading down that path of going to the more advanced strategies of whether it's investing, whether it's forms of saving.
I love this example because again, it's perfect when it comes to money. It's like, okay, when it comes to health, you first of all need to know like where you're at. So we all at the house got our genetics tested, which is like really cool because now we're going through the process of like seeing what our genetic, and we're all different. And so it's like we could say like, this is what you need to do, but I might have a better reaction to some food than you. And it's just really interesting to start with clarity. But then we have incredible clarity on what we need to do health-wise. Yep. And if we didn't, why would we even care? And then we need to be consistent with certain habits. And then obviously the use is kind of where I think of the strategy. Then we're going to get more custom and all this. Same thing goes with your money. If you're not clear, if you haven't audited where you're at, and that's the example of taking like a genetics test, you need to go through an x-ray. You really do. You need an assessment to see where you're currently at, because we could talk about all these fun and exciting things. I could talk to you about this supplement or, doing this hack. And other than the universal things, it's like, what are you going to be consistent in, and then customize that strategy around where you're currently at. It's so basic, man, but it's like, we just over and over and over again, people do not want to go back and look back at where they're at. They want to apply a new strategy that they heard on YouTube, because it's like, it will solve all their problems.
Yeah. And I think for my own situation with health, I kind of went down this route of, well, this is the diet that is everybody's talking about, whether it's keto, whether it's paleo, whether it's this, that, or there, or this exercise is really going to maximize those gains. And without getting your genetics tested,
Yep.
without really having that x-ray, really understanding of where you're at, you might be doing things that hinder or are making it worse, and you don't even know. And that's part of the thing, especially with diet, is you could be consuming all kinds of foods that aren't within your own genetics. And so when it comes to the financial piece too, is I something that shocks me a lot is when we go to events and things like that, are people that are in massive credit card debt, and then they go and they buy another expensive program and load up another credit card or whatever it may be, because they think that's going to solve the problem. But we're not solving the root issue in the beginning.
I love it.
And I think we keep talking about this of, we went down this path of trying to, really teach people what we thought to be true, but it's like, what do they think to be true first, and then taking them through that process and then prescribing products. And that's where we keep talking. It's this language thing of take a step back, get clear on what they want, the results. We've talked really a lot on that piece of the results, but where are they at? And that's what the x-ray is all about.
And the other thing I want to touch on is yes, the x-rays are really important, getting clear on where you're at, but then also the basics. It's like, if you're not eating well, if you're not sleeping, and you're like have crazy stress, if you're not doing those three things, if like the building blocks aren't built, then we can talk about blue light blocker glasses, and we could talk about how you can hack this strategy. But anxiety, if you're dealing with stress, I think there's a lot of studies that shown that can just crush you. And the same thing, we see those same things with money, is like, we want to talk about velocity banking. We want to talk about the and asset strategy. We want to talk about premium finance or special tax strategies. And trust me, you guys, we have a lot of things that we can do for people, which is really exciting, and it'll change your life. And it's like, okay, we got to get the basics, because if you're not sleeping at all, you can do this hack and you're still not going to feel great.
Well, and you actually hit it on the head. Like, a lot of stress, a lot of worry, a lot of sleepless nights come from what?
Money.
Lack of it.
Or a lack of clarity.
True.
And I'm not saying like our company's BetterWealth, and so we do look at it from the lens of money, but my goodness, I think a lot of times we're way more of a coaching, encouragement / counseling company.
Well, and because it's that compound effect.
Yes, 100%.
I love to say, and that idea of health, wealth, love, and happiness, if we took care of that financial piece, if we worked with you to take care of that financial piece, do you think you could be healthier? I think so. I think you can, make better choices. You can do better things, and you can look at it on both sides. They help each other out. If you've got your health in order, you're more likely going to be able to make more money, be able to make better choices, save more money, things like that. And if you have your finances in order, you're going to be able to, and so it's just a great synergy. And so, it's really this idea, biohacking before the basics. Same thing with finances. Let's get the basics in order, and then let's start talking about advanced strategies.
So the call to action is this: if you are first of all, wherever you are, do some clarity on, and just look back on what do you really want to accomplish, and make sure that you have the basics. And there's nothing wrong with biohacking, and there's nothing wrong with financial strategies, but it's make sure that we have clarity on where you're at, and make sure that we're doing the basics. And if you are new to us, thank you for listening to the BetterWealth podcast. You can go to betterwealth.com, like that's our website. If you go to betterwealth.com/podcast, that is where you can get some of the top podcast episodes that we've done, because we're over 200 episodes now, and so there's a lot of content. And if you have more questions about the and asset, we have a good first place to start there. We have some of our top interviews if you want to meet some of the people on the team. We've just laid that out. And if you're someone that has been listening to this, or stumbled upon my book and want to learn more, we encourage people to go through that first process of talking to somebody on our team. So if that's you, you can go to our website. You can figure out a way to talk to somebody, a BetterWealth coach that can help you with clarity. And we just found that being incredibly helpful. And so thank you for all of you that are watching this on YouTube. We are seeing more and more just the growth on that channel, on that platform. And then obviously we have a lot of dedicated podcast listeners. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Any final words that you want to give?
I think what I was thinking while you're saying that is efficiency, tying back to efficiency. Getting the basics in order is going to allow you to have maximum efficiency on the other things.
Yep. I agree. Thank you so much for listening to the BetterWealth podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with the people that you know and love.